the last action on table 1 today. It is England against the USA. Chris Melling against Billy Thorpe. Can Thorpe bounce back from that major setback, that major disappointment against Anton Raga?
To Phil and Carl for that. And Billy Thorpe really needs to show some resilience here after the huge setback he had earlier today. 1 on the side and position on the 2 from his first shot of the match is the first step. Billy Thorpe, someone we've already seen on the main table. He beat Lean Dang of Vietnam 9-1 in his first match, and then when Quang Tien 9-4 in his second, that was played in front of the cameras on table 1. Close enough start, and he didn't streak away after that, just steadily built his leads until he was a comfortable winner. And it looked like he was going to be a very comfortable winner earlier today in winner's qualification, when he led Anton Raga 8-1 and ended up losing 9-8. But I know, Jeremy, you spoke to Billy Thorpe after the match. What did he have to say about it?
Well, I mean, he was a little crushed about it, of course, because he played really well and really didn't get but one open look from the end rail to pocket a ball after being up 8-1. He broke dry, and said that Raga looked like he kind of was not giving up, but kind of like not playing as normal, kind of like, all right, I'm just beat here, and just one thing led to another, and he broke and got some shots, and he kicked the ball in at a crucial time. It was 8-7, that being Raga, and from there he won the match. But so, you know, just had a little talk with him, and I think he's going to regroup nicely here.
One thing you would have to say is, how well must he have had to play to lead someone like Anton Raga 8-1 in the first place?
Well, it was a lot of what Raga did coming back, as he just didn't let Raga shoot a whole lot. You know, he kept control. He opened the match with four breaking runs, which doesn't hurt, and then from there just played real solid. You know, and Billy played a real rough match. I think it was you and I that did the match earlier this week, and we had a talk after that. He's been doing real well, sticking to his routine, you know, doing the things that are necessary to play good pool and play very consistent good pool as well. And he's put in a lot of practice here in that last couple of days, and then just putting it in the matches. It's a couple crushing ones, really. I watched Shane Wolford play in his last. He played real well, just 2 shots got away, and he was defeated 9-7. I'm sure he's teeing off right now, or in the proximity in the next few minutes. And BJ Ussery, really, I watched a lot of his match against Sanjin, and Sanjin played pretty solid, but BJ just seemed like a lot didn't go his way, and not making excuses, but he made some nice shots. Made a jump shot at 3-3, scratching the side. This is one thing now: is he going up behind the 7-8, or is he taking on the bank? And we know what kind of banker Billy is. Probably the best in the world, or one of them. It's got to go a little bit. This may get a little awkward. So he's going to have to make a nice shot in the corner. I don't think the side's playable. I think the 7 is open. Maybe the 7-8 combination an option as well. Yeah, that's what he needs to do here. That little settle. And, you know, Billy was complaining about how hot it was. And, you know, I told him, I was like, well, you didn't do yourself any favors. The pace you played in that match where he struggled early in the tournament, I mean, you get to going fast, you're already heated up. So I think he's worked on all of that. And I think it's shown since that tough match he had early, even though he won it. All right, he's got to cheat the pocket a little bit here, I think, if he's coming down for the 7. You hit it full to the pocket, speed control, and the line could get a little lost. Now he's going to look at that 7-8. If the 7-8 plays, why take a question mark with the brown 7? Now that cue ball continued to roll, so depending how this combo lays, doesn't seem like he's very stressed out. So he'll just roll past the 7. Of course, the 7 will hold. And I can see already just a different demeanor around the table than we saw earlier this week.
Billy Thorpe from Ohio, 27 years of age. Number 49 on the latest issued world ranking list. That's an improvement of 22 places since the start of the year.
And, you know, Americans have put themselves in a spot where it's going to be a grind for a lot of them to climb, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I actually think it's quite good, especially if you engage in it.
So the transatlantic clash sees the American side of it taking the opening rack. Billy Thorpe leads Chris Melling 1-0. Losers qualification then. Effectively, we're down to the single elimination phase now, because anyone who loses at this stage is out. Chan Keng Kwang of Singapore needs 2 more racks, leads Oliver Villafuerte of Philippines. Sorry, actually, I've misread that score. It's Oliver Villafuerte who leads 8-7. So Chan Keng Kwang does need 2 more racks, but Villafuerte only needs 1. Early on, John Raybong is leading Quang Nong Pan 3-2. David Al-Kadi sent to losers qualification. Closing in on victory leads Britain's Pat Holtz 7-4. Kuo Po Cheng, very experienced player, 8-4 up on Sharik Saeed. Ko Ping Chung, the US Open champion, not guaranteed to make it to the final, 64. Only 7-6 up against To Lian Han. And how about this? Shane Van Bonen is 5-3 down.
Who's his opponent?
Well, not a particularly well-known player. You might be more familiar with the name. Marvin ASIS.
Yeah, from the Philippines.
So is that Assis?
I think so, yeah, and I think that's another young one. And this is one thing that Billy is, I think, one of the tops in now, is the breaking the balls. He's really figured it out. It's not always so easy to repeat. Now looking at a 2-9 combo that I'm assuming he'll run the ball. This is a big shot, so you know, anytime you make a decision to go for a combo like this, you better be feeling pretty good about it. And I think overall, besides taking that loss, he is feeling pretty good overall.
Couldn't win any of the last 8 racks in his previous match. That's why he finds himself playing on the loser's side here. It hasn't taken him long to win 2 in a row. Very quick kill there. Billy Thorpe 2-0 up on Chris Melling. Dennis Orcolio leads Ko Ping Han 4-2. All of these players now are playing for their future in the Hanoi Open, because if you lose at this stage, that's the end of it. They've all lost 1 match already. Tyler Steyer has won the first couple of racks against Lu Hee Chan. Dennis Graba of Estonia leads Germany's Ralf Suke 4-3. Clash of 2 stalwarts of the European scene. We've got João Grillo of Portugal and Peru's World Cup player Gerson Martinez level at 4-all. Former World and US Open champion Carlo Biado leads Chang Yu Long 5-2. And another player who's won both of those titles, Mika Immonen, He is 4-3 up on Imran Majid. Ko Ping Chung has just made it to the hill at 8-6 against To Lian Han. 2-0 to Thorpe.
Yeah, watch how well the ball spread. You know, as soon as I open my mouth, little miss on the one that time. You could hear just a lot of little kisses in there, and things maybe got a little quick. That's usually the problem.
Chris Melling lost his first match against Takashi Hiraoka of Japan, 9-4. So he's had to win 3 matches on the loser side even to get this far. First of those was handed to him. Tran Tien Tang, his opponent. It was a no-show. Chris was out there practicing for, I think, about 3/4 of an hour before he was officially confirmed as the winner of that one. His next opponent, also from Vietnam, Nguyen Hoang Pong, did show, but was beaten 8-4, and that was also the score by which Melling beat Marcos Sanz Martin earlier this afternoon to get to this stage.
Yeah, Chris is going to be upset not getting the snooker there. Really was laying nice, and a little light there for Billy. I'll tell you what, that To Lian Han, he's a super great guy, and consider him a friend, a good friend actually, even though I don't get to spend much time with him, of course, but at the tournaments. But tell you what, he's a tough customer. He really doesn't give in. He's got a lot of experience. It doesn't surprise me that he's given Ko Ping Chung all he can handle.
World Cup finalist Singapore.
And at times kind of played the most solid, you know.
Yeah.
Between him and yeah. Okay, a lot of balls on the table here. A lot of people say a soft kick, but you got to go with a little speed here. Hope to get behind the 1, bring the cue ball across behind the 2, and take your chances. He caught it full, so he's going to surrender the first real shot here in rack number 3.
Chris Melling, aged 44, 57th in the world rankings. I think if he was focused solely on 9-ball all the time and playing a full schedule and not doing anything else, there's a good chance he'd be a good deal higher than that. He is one of the great Q Sports all-rounders, not just in pool. He's been a professional snooker player as well, and he's beaten so many good players: Peter Ebdon, Matthew Stevens, Nigel Bond, all of whom have been snooker ranking tournament winners, and indeed can claim a big snooker win over the current world champion, Luca Brissell.
Yeah, nice one there. He's got a little work here now. The 5 is a big ball coming off the right side of the 3 to get to the pink. May end up having to play a short side on the pink, which could be a little touchy, drawing past the purple, but this here is not easy. Doesn't want to flick off that purple. He played it nice and soft. He's going to fall a little underneath it. I don't know if he has the upper right corner. I think he does. It's close. That's a great look. Just doesn't really have to elevate too much. Just hit a little downward. He drew it actually a little straight here. That's why I was saying I may not try to hit too downward on this. I'm going to try and draw this between the 8 and 9. A lot of cue action, of course. Really nice stroke. And I think Chris, you know, he showed up not so early for the event, couldn't make the parry, and then he also was a little under the weather, it seemed, when I talked to him the first day or two. And on day 3, he looked a lot better.
Someone, I think, just walking around and taking longer than ideally would do to sit down. So once that was resolved, he put it straight out of his mind, and sometimes that can be hard to do when you've just had a little distraction like that.
Absolutely, but I was just going to say that both look very prepared and striking the ball very well.
I was going to say, it's promising so far, isn't it? We've come here hoping for a good contest. So far, we're getting one. Billy Thorpe had his first dry break of the match. The 3rd time of asking. Chris Melling has ended up winning the rack, so 2-1 in favour of the American. 9 needed to go through. Shane Van Boning's got one back. What did we say? Marvin Assis?
Yeah, Assis.
Yeah, so 5-4 in that one now. You can see some of the scores going through there. Hill going on table 21 between Oliver Villafuerte of the Philippines and Singapore's Chan Keng Kwang. David O'Cady 7-4 up on Pat Holtz. Kwo Po Cheng, experienced player, is on the hill at 8-5 against Sharik Saeed. Ko Ping Chung still looking for one more to see off Tolian Han. That's still 8-6. Mika Imminent leads Imran Majid 4-3. Jan van Lierop of the Netherlands going along very nicely against Warren Kamko. 6-1 in that. Ralph Souquet and Dennis Grab a level at 4-all. Tyler Steyer 2-0 up on Lu Hee Chan, and Dennis Orcolio leads Ko Ping Han, youngest of the Ko brothers, 4-3.
Yeah, really impressed with what Ko Ping Han's been doing lately and what I've seen. And tell you what, he's gonna be a force. It may take another season to really set in, but you know he's gaining by leaps and bounds.
So Melling's first break of the contest comes up dry. Hard to believe Billy Thorpe is only 27. He's been around and doing well for about 6 or 7 years already. Started winning decent-sized tournaments around the United States around about 2017 and 18 when he won the Turning Stone. And the year after that, he found a bit more consistency. Put himself in the top 10 money winners in the world for the first time that year.
Yeah, and he's not going to fool Chris Melling here because the 2 ball is very playable off the right side of the 1. This jump shot may be a fooler to some, and he could make them both with the 3 near, but the 2 is the one he's really playing. Yeah, I think Billy really overall probably a very so-so push out, you know, may get away with it. And of course he was in a bad spot anyways. He was hoping that, of course, Chris probably going to recognize, but maybe doesn't come away with a shot after knocking that 2 in. Should be somewhat of a safety behind the purple. So both players looking very good so far. Boy, and this has gotten ugly. He's got to spin this. This is Chris has really laid the cue ball down nicely, and the thing is, he needs the spin to take quite a bit, so that means he can't get a lot into the cue ball. So separation may be a little more difficult than what we think. Oh, he actually got more spin on it than he anticipated.
Chris Melling has good memories of coming to this corner of the world. His first big 9-ball tournament win was the China Open back in 2011. He's also been winner of the 9-ball at the Derby City Classic, a tournament with plenty of history and prestige attached to it.
Oh my, looked like Chris almost made a huge mistake with ball in hand. Really flirting with that side. Chris would tell you never a doubt.
Serious Q Sports country where Chris comes from, Yorkshire in the north of England. Plenty of pool players from around those parts. Darren Appleton, Kelly Fisher.
What I like, and you know Chris has got that real extended backswing, but what I like is I'm not seeing that real heavy pause in the back. There's a slight one, but the heavy one to me, I think under pressure is very difficult thing, especially in 9-ball pool more than what you might say with snooker, because snooker, they don't really spin the ball that much on the side. So, you know, just like throwing a baseball, in my opinion, it's really hard to repeat the curve of the ball without that more flowing motion. And that's what we do here in pool a lot. We actually curve the cue ball. Can't say every shot, but more shots than we don't.
Talk about Chris's snooker background. Well, that's one place where he's got a real advantage over just about everyone else here, using the moose head, as I'm trying to get it to be known as, because obviously in snooker you use the rest so much, you have to become proficient with it.
Yeah, in today's game, you know, they don't miss a beat. I mean, back in the day we had jump cues, but we certainly didn't put in the time trying to perfect them probably like we should have. Didn't really feel like they were that big a part of the game like they are today. Same thing with the crutch, or the moose head as you're calling it, the rest. I'm sure these players put in some time because it's going to come up.
That's the thing, though, with Chris, he hasn't needed to put in that time coming into the game because it's just second nature to a snooker player, which was his background. Anyway, from 2-0 down, he's levelled with Billy Thorpe at 2-all in this losers qualification match. Ko Ping Chung, winner of the US Open, still has a chance to win the Hanoi Open as well, because it is now over at 9-6 against To Lian Han.
Yeah, and a little deja vu, really, you know, from not so long ago. Same exact route he took for the US Open, losing his second match.
Against Corey Jewell,
yeah. And then fighting through.
Bit of deja vu for To Lian Han as well, because it's the second time today he's faced someone who's won one of the biggest events in pool this year and given him a good run for his money. Had it against Francisco Sanchez Ruiz earlier today.
Well, he's a consistent player. That's why, you know, you really don't see too many lopsided scorelines when he does lose. And he wins more matches than he loses, that's for sure. Been in plenty of, I wouldn't say plenty, but he's been in several of these final 64s.
One player who certainly wins a lot more matches than he loses is Shane Van Boning, and he's getting a bit of momentum going now, back to all square at 5-all against Marvin Assis.
Okay, this is going to be an interesting push out here. So he's pushing out to the top little clip. The one's going to play into the pink, probably Chris So Crafty. You know, very, very good 8-ball player as well. So these types of shots, he's going to cannon the one off the pink, let it drip below the 2, and then try and go upstairs with the cue ball. Pretty bare ball upstairs, though, and there's plenty of balls going to be around the 1. So if he leaves Billy a look at this, could be an easy safety, even though there may be some distance between the cue ball and the object ball. This is the type you could pass, but he fancies his chances. Yeah, really good. So I don't know. That one there was a very difficult push out no matter what. I may have pushed out to a kick. But so far, the push out with the jump, to me, I was a little questionable there, because the kiss shot in the side on the 2 was pretty easy. And you're certainly never getting it back. And that's twice. So maybe the push out a little light so far for Billy. But that one there again was very difficult.
So, nice chance here for Melling to lead for the first time in the match. He's been a Mosconi Cup player on a couple of occasions. He's actually on the winning team both times in Las Vegas in 2011. It was in the early stages of that long run of domination that Europe had, which continued next year when he was actually the MVP in the 2012 contest in London. And strange to go from being MVP to, here we are 11 years later, he's still never been back in the team.
Well, like you said, you know, was that full commitment to 9-ball pool, and
yeah,
that's what it takes. And you don't, not just, just gonna get by, okay, easily. But and that wouldn't be just on the European side, that'd be the American side as well. Okay, may fall a little straight here. And this is the thing that people don't understand about looking, right, and position, is your mind, when it comes to playing pool, it thinks straight in. Without you thinking, it thinks straight in. So when you just let the ball wander, how often we say he got straight on something when he wanted an angle when they don't go look, just Your mind knows the speed to get you the best shot on the ball, period. That's just how it is. And, of course, that's not fact. But, I mean, once you watch it happen over and over, and I've done it myself so often. Now, the good thing is Chris is, like all the greats, a great recovery player. Maybe the best, one of the best ever, really. That's why he has so many outs that are going to be looked at through the years as some of the best ever. That's the one that scares me with the when he has some of that extended swings in the back. It's almost like some of the lighter shots he doesn't really accelerate the cue. And in my opinion, there's no way he aimed thickly, right? Pros just don't aim poorly.
Everything looked to be going so well for Chris Melling there. Seemed to be heading for his third rack in a row. What do you make of this?
Yeah, he got a lot into it. Billy maybe needs to realize how well he is striking the ball.
Do you think that was a case of not wanting the cue ball to get stuck coming back out of the jaws, overdoing it?
Yeah, you know, and then sometimes, you know, Billy going for the bank. What happens is you say to yourself, just like a thin one we talked about the other day, you say to yourself, let me just cut it as thin as I can, and then you overcut it. So, you know, sometimes when the ball's deep like that, you'll say to yourself, oh, let me make sure I draw it and I'll be okay, and then you just get too much out of it. Instead of just treating it like another shot and saying, oh, I want to get here, now let me just swing the cue. I'll probably get exactly where I want or real close.
So it's a duel on the 9 ball, 3-2 lead, the prize on offer to both players.
Yeah, and he'll certainly go for this. Now this is one I wouldn't elevate. I would just level out, try and make my best strike on the ball. I wouldn't hit it real easy, of course. But don't. What I'm saying is disregard safety. Try and hit it clean, and he has. Really nice.
Yeah, the duel on the 9 comes to a swift end. So Chris Melling, in a sense, got away with one there. Missed the 8. Billy Thorpe ended up having potted the 8, going for the bank shot on the 9. Didn't come off for it this time. For him, rather. So Chris Melling leads for the first time at 3 racks to 2. So it's all losers qualification action now. John Rabong 4-3 up on Hong Nam Pham. David Al-Kaidi has made it to the hill against Pat Holtz at 8-4.
We missed Pat for a little while. Seems he's played the last few events and gaining a little traction.
Oliver Villafuerte has won that hill finish I was telling you about against Chan Keng Kwang. And victory also for Kuo Po Cheng, ending the hopes of Sharik Saeed with a 9-5 win.
Yeah, two-time finalist in the World 9-Ball Championship right there. And oh, this is going to hurt. Oh, I thought he lost the rock.
Shane Van Boning now ahead of Marvin Assis. That one's gone 6-5, so Van Boning putting a few racks together there. Carlo Beato just needs 2 more. 7-3 up on Chang Yu Long. And Jan van Lierop, the Dutchman, is another player on the hill. 8-1 against Warren Kiamko of the Philippines.
Yeah, good push out there, tying the 3-4 up. May have left a little sliver of the 2. I even left more than a sliver, but I don't think it's makeable, though. I think that camera angle may be fooling us a bit.
Well, this is makeable. Big ask to extend it any further, looking at where the 3 is on the other side of the table, tied up with the 4. Talked about his Mosconi Cup history, which is pretty good. One team event which hasn't been quite as happy for him has been the World Cup. He's represented various iterations of his national team on many occasions. 5 times Melling has been to the quarterfinals in Pools World Cup. And every time he's fallen at that stage.
Yeah, it's kind of a bare ball safety, but I think he should knock the 2 in, try and clip the 3, use the 4 to hold the 3 right there on the rail, and just drift maybe 1 or 2 soft rails behind the 9. I think he should try and take this on. Of course, the 2's not a hard shot. Just roll it in, I said, and like I said, and just chip the 3 ball, excuse me. Yeah, he's maybe trying to pull off one of Chris's amazing shots. Trying to come around the purple and try and hook the cue ball into the 4 and 3. A lot of speed. Yeah. Thing is, now you put yourself in a much more difficult position to play that safety. You could have just kind of tapped the 2 in and then been a lot more control, I think. Now he's got to deal with a pretty thin one. Is he looking at kicking this ball? By the way, he was aiming there. That's the only thing I could imagine, him coming to the bottom cushion, trying to go 2 rails. The problem with this is you can hit this really well and not get a cushion because he's not going to put a lot of speed. I think I got to go down shooting at the 3 directly somehow here. I know I'm never giving up ball in hand doing that. All right, so he's going to kick softly. He's going to try and hit the 2nd rail, come across the 3 lightly, and just barely clip it underneath the pink 4. He catches the 3 thick. Like I said, he may not get a cushion, and giving up ball in hand while opening these balls, that could really hurt. All right, that's going to get in there thick. Yeah. Oh, pretty fortunate the cue ball got back to the rail. It looked like it got back to the rail to me.
Yeah, I think it did.
I think, well, they might know better. But that's the type of shot I was talking about, coming in there, and you figured, you know, it's going to kind of bounce off one way or another. That'd be the 3 to the rail or the cue ball, but may have settled just short.
It'd be good if we could see that previous shot again, because they appear to have decided, well, they have decided, that it is ball in hand.
Billy's going to take on this in the corner. This is a ball in hand that is a little missable. Any miss hit of the cue ball at all. Got it down. And those guys are probably right. I mean, they're pretty easy to talk about it there. They're 2 easygoing guys as well. But I'll tell you, you know, a few times our referees have had a few issues this week. But that all kind of stemmed from that 2 ball he was trying to do a lot with. And he fell a little short. The problem is, when you almost get position but you don't quite get there, it's not easy to move the ball. So you may have to go to the top side of the 8. If he is, the angle may be taking him towards that upper left corner. Not saying he's going to scratch, but he may have to shoot the 8 from a little further away than he wants. Oh, he's going to go ahead and bump it. So he was pretty straight. Maybe a little unfortunate to land near the rail here. Yeah, and just knowing Billy, the juices are flowing a little bit.
Billy Thorpe from 2-all. Could have won both of the last 2 racks. Instead of which he's won neither of them. And Chris Melling now won 4 in a row, so that's 4-2 in his favour. David O'Cady, the European Open champion, is into the final 64, ending the run of Britain's Pat Holtz with a 9-4 win. No progress to report on the Shane Van Boening match. Well, just as I say that, it's ticked over, so he's won another rack. Van Boening 7-5 up now on Marvin Assis, and Mika Immonen, another former World and US Open champion, is also a couple of racks clear at 6-4 against Imran Majid. Carlo Biado, who also falls into that category of players who've won both of the 2 big standout events, has a 7-4 lead over Chang Yu Lung. And Bui Trong An of Vietnam is on the hill against John Vincent Fachado of the Philippines. 8-1 in that.
Yeah, really nice break off there. Unusual kiss, kinda, sending it straight down to the bottom rail. But he's got a long one, but a very good one on the blue too, and a very good spread. Ball's agreeing with Chris here after a big mistake from Billy on that 8. You can see the 2 over the pocket. That's the real demanding shot in this rack, and I can't believe it got away from him. Because, I mean, look at the 3, 4 to 5, 6, 7 up group together. That one there was to get some real separation early.
Well, considering Billy Thorpe lost 8 racks in a row in his last match, if it had gone to 5 in a row there, well, we've been getting a sense of deja vu. Talked about Melling having played in a couple of Mosconis. Billy Thorpe's actually played in 4. Made his debut at the age of 21 in 1997. It's the start of 4 in a row. In the middle of that were the wins of 2018 and 19. His last appearance, though, was the first year that you were captain, Jeremy, in the COVID Mosconi in Coventry, the Rico in 2020, which I believe isn't called the Rico anymore, incidentally.
Okay, he's going to give up a gap on the 2. Did well with the cue ball, though, because he knew the 2 was going into balls, so hard to predict. Can't worry about that. You just do the best you can. Make it as hard on your opponent as possible.
Bui Trong An of Vietnam has made it very hard for his opponent. John Vincent Fachado only got 1 rack on the board. Bui Trong An is through with a 9-1 win.
Really extra special stuff there from Chris. And now in that position again to extend that lead. And, you know, yeah, Billy, of course, it's always team efforts when you win that Mosconi Cup, no matter how it goes down. But 2019, he really shined over there in Vegas. He won a couple really big matches, and it looked like he was heading on his way. And of course, like any sport, sometimes you get some road speed bumps kind of come along, and you got to regroup. That's just how it is.
Well, whether it's this year or another year, it really is hard to imagine at the age of 27 that he won't play at least another Mosconi somewhere along the way, maybe several more.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just got to remain focused. You know, some of us have focus a little easier than others. Some of us have talent a little more than others, you know, and Billy's got all the talent. He knows it. He's got to keep the brain engaged, and the way he does that is just, you know, away from these tournaments really more than at them.
I think if anyone has only got into 9-ball since the start of 2023 and they've been watching a lot, they might think we talk a huge amount about the Mosconi. Well, they're right, I guess. They may even get the impression we talk about it too much. But what I would say to anyone who thinks that is, join us from the 6th of December, watch it for the few days, and then you'll understand why we spend so much of the year talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, you've done more sporting events than I have, but I grew up playing it, and been to the World Series, NBA playoffs, never made that Super Bowl just yet, but I've never felt anything like it. And that's whether I was a spectator or the many times I've gotten fortunate enough to play in it. Now the captaincy side, Of course, you still feel all the energy, but you're just a little more stressed doing so. Speaking of stress will start to mount here soon if Billy Thorpe can get a few things going.
Chris Melling has got a lot going here. He's got a run of 5 in a row. Billy Thorpe's had chances to be in a better position than this. Melling very much in control at the moment at 5-2. Still 7-5 for Shane Van Bonen over Marvin Assis. I'll be interested to ask you this, Jeremy, because you see these things from a different perspective, having been a very high-level competitor. Outside of pool, what's the most memorable sporting event you've attended?
Well, I'm a huge baseball fan, so I went to Game 1 of the '99 World Series, and Hideki Arabu against Greg Maddux, Yankees Braves. Doesn't get much better than that for baseball, especially in the late 90s. Braves that won their division every year, seemed like for 14 or 15 years, and then that Yankee squad that won like 5 World Series, I think, with Derek Jeter and all those famous players. Joe Torre as the manager, which I've always loved that guy, the way he won. But on pro sports, maybe that's it. I mean, I did get a chance to go to the Masters one year, which was something special for me. But yeah, probably that World Series game. But I mean, you know, like I said there a second ago, you've done so much sports, and you know, big ones as well. And the difference in the Moscone is they're right on top of you. It's crazy, and pool's the most delicate sport in the world, maybe. And so you would have to tell me. I'm sure you've been to many Ryder Cups and whatnot, so I know the energy's pretty high at those as well. You know, like what your opinion is the Moscone compared to other sporting events.
Big difference, I guess, between the Moscone and the Ryder Cup is that with the Ryder Cup, the action is always going on in a lot of different places all at once. So the crowds are spread out among a number of different matches, unless it comes down to the finish when everyone's gathered in one place. But the Moscone, all the focus is on you all of the time. It's not like in the Ryder Cup, if you go out to play final day singles and you're down the order and you're not one of the biggest names, you can play it in a relative degree of anonymity. I stress the word relative there. No hiding place like that in the Moscone. The only thing I could compare it to, actually, is arguably the most memorable sporting events I've ever been to. It's the last 16 of the Football World Cup in 2002. Spain against Ireland, and we bowed out on penalties. And the stadium had only just been newly built, and it was so unbelievably well constructed and designed. You felt like you were right there on the pitch. Now that's in a ground of, I don't know, maybe 40, 50,000 people. Moscone Cup obviously is on a smaller scale, but it's that same sort of bear pit thing, isn't it?
Yeah, thinking now, when Michael Vick played for the national championship game for West Virginia Tech, against a highly ranked #1 team, Florida State, that was in the Superdome right there on New Year's Day, which, you know, college football is a big thing, especially the bowl games and the championship game. That was a pretty intense one as well, and especially because it looked like it wasn't even going to be a bowl game, and Michael Vick, the athlete he is, he just single-handedly brought the team back. Now, they lost the game on the very end, but it was an experience for sure.
I guess the overall point we're trying to get across here is, if you've not seen a Moscone before, you're not going to be prepared for it. It really is such a standout thing, and if it goes close, there's just no words for it.
Yeah, nice shot there from Billy. Recovering a little bit after a so-so shot on a safety prior. Different types of backgrounds tactically, I think, here. Chris with the snooker, of course, English 8-ball, of course, a lot of 9-ball. And Billy, one of the great bankers in the game. And what happens when you play a lot of banks? It teaches you a lot more than banking the ball, because you're not hitting the object ball to make it straight in. So it teaches you a lot of little foreign hits, gives you a lot of gut instinct, kicking at the ball, and kind of just how the balls react in general. I think he could see this. I thought he could see this ball. Maybe doesn't like the edge on the one. I think he's got to do that regardless and just leave distance. Billy's not dogging it or anything, but he's made a couple little mistakes. So I think you've got to play on that a little bit here and just take your chances with the long ball. You never know, you might get behind the 6. He caught it thick. He's going to need some help. And maybe that, you know, as thick as he caught that, so that tells you how much of the ball he had. So it makes you think why he ever entertained kicking at the ball.
Shea Van Boning looked like he was heading for the hill, leading 7-5 against Marvin Assis. And potting the 5 though in the next rack, he hooked himself on the 6, couldn't extricate himself from the situation, and he's ended up losing the rack. So 7-6 now. And he's not the only American who's having problems at the moment. Bad miss from Thorpe.
Yeah, and a lot of movement as well. And Billy did say how much warmer he felt like the TV table was with the extra lights. And yeah, I do get it. But like anything else, if you start to make mistakes, your body's going to heat up even more. All right, he's going to bump the 2 probably here, just mildly. This is where that apparatus, you know, that, ooh, he's overcut it. So it's weird, they both start off really good responding to each other, right? And now a few little mistakes maybe doing the same.
There's one more winner to tell you about. I'm not sure we gave this result. I think it's finished within the last few minutes. Apologies if you've already been informed of this. Jeffrey Roda of the Philippines has beaten Tim de Ruyter of the Netherlands 9-6.
Yeah, Billy's got to get that rhythm back and kind of in play here, and that doesn't mean get fast. It just means that consistent pace around the table. Looks like, I guess the 5 doesn't go by the 8, so he's going to have to draw back here and take a little bit of a cut. It looks like he's got a little angle, actually. Confident stroke.
The way this match has gone, it could have been almost any score, or any combination of scores that would add up to 8. Thorpe really needs to finish this off here. This is his big chance to stem the tide. He's lost 5 racks in a row.
And there's a 9 ball on the side rail, so you don't want to get much of a cut on that. I think it is frozen. So position on the 8 shouldn't be hard, but it's definitely necessary. That should be good. The speed. Now, is he thick enough to pull it 2 rails, or does he have to go high ball? So he's going to use 3 cushions coming at the 9. Watch out for the sides. Now, as this ball get froze, this could be problems. Whew. This is not as easy a shot as people think.
No, said he really had to take this opportunity. What we didn't say was that it would be easy. So, biggest shot of the match so far, without a question. And it's a challenge he's proved up to. So Chris Melling won 5 racks in a row, but Billy Thorpe, the gutsy 9, has taken that one. He's back to only 2 behind at 5-3. A couple more winners to tell you about. Carlo Biado, winner of the US Open a couple of years ago. Former world champion as well. He's got a good win over Chang Young. Made it harder for himself than we would have expected. Getting beaten early on and going to the loser's side and facing a very good opponent there, but he's beaten him. Carlo Biado will be in the draw. And when it comes to players who come through on the winner's side, those who already have, and guys who they want to avoid, Carlo Biado is going to be very close to the top of that list. Jan van Lierop, steadily improving player from the Netherlands, is through with a 9-2 win over Warren Kiamko of the Philippines. And Gerson Martinez, Peruvian World Cup player, needs just one more, leading João Grillo 8-7. No update for you on Shane Van Boning. He's still just one ahead of Marvin Assis at 7-6. after being a bit unfortunate, really, to lose the previous rack. And Mika Immonen, now in his 50s, still a very capable player. Same goes for Imran Majid. They're up against each other, and it's Immonen leading 7-4. Elsewhere, Dennis Orcolio 7-5 ahead of Ko Ping Han in a clash of the generations. Tyler Steyer looking good for a place in the final 64, leading Lu Hee Chan 6-2. And Ralph Souquet, who got to the last 16 of the US Open week before last, 3 racks away from making single elimination again. He leads Dennis Grabo of Estonia 6-4. Shane Wolford battling for that Mosconi debut, which some would say is perhaps a bit overdue at this stage. He's rooming with the captain this week, and he's leading Ronnie Oldervik of Norway by 2 racks to 1. Fu Che Wei is on the hill now, 8-2 against Lu Ri Ting.
Yeah, Shane Wolford looks like the last match to really get kicked off with only 3 games played. And I'll tell you something about Mika. Seems like as the day goes, if he has to play more matches, he gets better. So maybe something to think about if you're him, and maybe make an adjustment if he can get through, and just maybe put a little more concern on that first match early. I'm not saying he doesn't, but you know, you got to look at what's working, right? And think about making an adjustment. Can't wait to see the juniors here in Hanoi play. We talked about all the class around the world with these junior events, and you never know, this may be the class of them all. We don't get to hear about many professional names on this side of the world, let alone the juniors that can play.
Yeah, I would expect the standard on that is going to be absolutely off the charts. One thing I'll say about them is they look a bit older than a lot of the players we've seen at some of the other junior events. We've seen a lot of kids maybe 12, 13. These kids here that I'm looking at all look like they're...
They all look like they're from the same team, really.
Well, they're all wearing the same shirt.
Well, that, but
yeah.
I'm saying the height's very similar.
Yeah.
They're all, you know, in good shape, it looks like, you know, thinner.
These all look about 17 or thereabouts. Now, I'm never a good person at judging what age someone is, but
yeah.
these all look a bit more grown up than we've seen at some of the other events.
Well, you know, they have a lot of pool in schools in different places, right? They have a lot of training early. So I wouldn't doubt with this specialty event, it was more like we're sending the cream of the crop, and that's definitely going to be more towards your 15, 16-year-olds most likely than your 9, 10-year-olds. So.
I should say, by the way, we've seen some of those really, really young-looking players at the other junior events, and then you see them play, and it's frightening how good they are.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at some technique around with the juniors. Just, of course, can't see them knocking balls in too much, but just watching the arm move, and no coincidence what they believe in for 9-ball pool around here, and they all look like they have pretty good form.
Yeah, they're playing here in front of us, but I think this is just the practice phase, and then the tournament itself begins tomorrow. What
a big mistake with ball in hand to fall. Look at how much room he had above the 2-ball. Now he's got to kind of maybe get into the 3 a hair, and then he misses the 2 behind it. Got a huge roll there, though. So that's just a little concentration. And again, that goes a little more how you play the game. You know, Chris has got such a good cue ball. I think maybe, like there, he could have ran the cue ball much higher above the 2. Why try to get so perfect on it? I understand he'd say, well, I'm supposed to hit that. I'm supposed to hit that position. Well, if you play for a little higher position, you never miss it. And what a shot there. And after a big mistake, that happens so often. Does he have a look here? I think the 8's got him.
Yeah, it looks that way. Might get a better idea from this vantage point.
Yeah, it looked like he may spin around the green 6, but catching it, coming in and coming out. And what happens when you make some early mistakes? You got to grind things through. You know, it looks like there he should have got a shot maybe, but can't let that bother you. Now coming with a big rail first, and you don't want to baby this one. That way cue ball gets down up on the top rail, and maybe the 3 gets away if you miss. Just like that.
Needed that one to keep running a bit.
Yeah, I think it's thinner than we think, and he's got a lot of traffic. expects to get back down table.
Sure, big ask to get round for the 4. If he does, he'll be clear favourite to win the rack. That's a big if.
Yeah, I don't think he can really dig on this. He's just going to have to take his chances with some speed. Oh, he's trying to go off the edge of the 6. I actually think he'll end up getting into the 7 if he makes it. Is there any safety here that he's overlooking? Can he go rail first and just chip the 3 down the rail and bleed the cue ball over? Look at the 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a big wall of balls. And something about 9-ball pool, when you don't feel like you're going to get position, it really can affect your shot. I don't know why. It's a mental thing.
Big news from table 3. Marvin Assis has now won 2 in a row. He's level with Shane Van Bonen at 7-all. The biggest story by far of this Hanoi Open so far may just be brewing.
Yeah, well, it was the biggest match, in my opinion. Best match of the event so far between him and Kyle. Really nice shot. Oh, I thought he was going to get an awful kiss on the cue ball. Really nice shot there for Billy.
Yeah, that was Kyle Amoroso of the Philippines, who came from 8-6 down to beat him 9-8 earlier today. Van Bonen scratching late on and leaving an easy 8 and 9 for the youngster.
I'd like to know what he's measuring right here. I'm trying to figure it out by what he does. He's measuring straight across, so that's just a hair above the first diamond. So it must be some type of mirror system with the kick here. Looks like he's going to have to add a touch of left spin. So he's just trying to go one rail at the edge of the 3, I think, trying to cut it in. And it's going to go way long.
See a few pleasant words being exchanged. I describe Billy as a real people person from what I know of him.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
He came in and actually did some commentary with me in the Championship League in Milton Keynes almost 3 years ago, and came in not really sure about it all, but after about one rack you could see he was loving it and didn't want to leave the booth all night. He had a great time.
Yeah, he's a kid at heart in many ways, and in my opinion, nothing wrong with that.
Well, he and Skylar at that last Moscone he played in, like they were like a couple of kids together. They were playing together. You paired them in the doubles, and they were just loving being out there.
Yeah, and it was an odd Moscone, of course, like the rest of the world was at that time, and it was, not the way we wanted it to go, and we lost a bunch of hill matches, but the spirit was kept up with Billy, and we just had to get on with it. Carried an angle here on the 6. He needs another little one on the 7. fall a little straight. So he's going to have to make a little more of a shot than he wanted on the 8. Now this is where you go look, because you're not going to get much better, but you can get where you're the most comfortable shooting it. Meaning if it's stopping your ball, coming back 2-3 inches, going forward 2 or 3 inches, that makes a huge difference on pressure shots. Like you're cueing over the side pocket, you may prefer that a little bit because there's a little opening there, right?
Well, it feels like a very different match now, doesn't it? Chris Melling had won 5 in a row to lead 5-2. Not much would have had to happen differently in the next rack for that to go 6-2. And now, Billy Thorpe, a golden chance to get back to just 1 behind.
Yeah, should put a little pace on this, catching 2 cushions. Cue ball back somewhat where it's at now.
A good shot, that. Maybe even a bit better than it looked. And this is not going to be missed. So started the rack by scratching off the break. Finishes it by potting the 9. Anyone's match now. Chris Melling's lead trimmed to 5-4. Couple more winners to tell you about. Gerson Martinez, part of the Peru team we saw playing against Albania at the World Cup of Pool in Spain back in the summer, has beaten João Griot of Portugal by 9 racks to 7. Griot's made a bit of an impact in these Matchroom events this year, but that'll be the last we see of him in 2023. And victory also for Fu Che Wei. 2 players representing Chinese Taipei playing each other on table 6. And Fu Che Wei has beaten Liu Ritane comfortably, 9-2. Still 7-all between Shane Van Boning and Marvin Assis. Mika Immonen just ahead of Imran Majid at 7-4. More square between John Rabong and Pong Nam Pham at 5-all. Tyler Starr looking good, 7-2 up on Lu Hee Chan. And I'm not sure we gave the Dennis Orcolio result. He has beaten Ko Ping Han anyway by 9 racks to 5.
Yeah, and it was a lot of offense to start, but now they're breaking out agreeing so much with that. I don't know a lot about Antonius Kakaris, because that's who just, I think, really gave Alvin Ocean a big sweater, I believe, in the winner's qualification, and now up 5-2 over Mohamed Riyad. But I know there's a lot of great Greek players, and I've become familiar with the ones that I don't know as well. But is he somewhat of a newer one getting back out?
Kakaris, yeah, he's been in a few of these events this year, I think. I know there was one event we turned up to, we looked at the draw and we couldn't believe there were like 19 Greek players in there.
Yeah.
So there are plenty of them.
Maybe the European Open, I believe. Could have been Spain. I know there were quite a few actually at the UK Open as well.
Yeah, I think that's the one I'm thinking of. We turned up and just couldn't believe how big the Greek contingent was.
Love to see Matt Edwards, nothing against Patrick Gonzalez, but it seems like Matt's playing some of his best pool at this tournament, and maybe didn't have to travel quite as far. I know it was still another 12 hours from Australia to Vietnam, something like that, but that beats 24 or 30, and it seems like he's playing some of his best pool, and love to see him get through that final 64. What a super nice guy.
Yeah, Kakaris is been doing well mostly throughout the year in some of the events in Southern Europe, particularly Southeastern Europe, the Balkans, and that general corner of the continent.
All right, a push out. Cue ball's off the rail. Something you normally want the cue ball on the rail, but he had to just play it that way. Or is he coming around the 9 on the left or right? Oh, big mistake from Chris Melling there off the push out, serving up ball in hand, and we should have a notch match here in a moment. Just right off. No excuse for that.
Some more drama on table 3. Shane Van Boning up against Marvin Assis, as we've been talking about. 7-all. And Van Boning missed the 4 in the side and the next rack, giving Assis a chance to get to the hill. But in potting the 7, he scratched. Van Boning back in, wins the rack. He's first to the hill instead at 8-7. And Mika Immonen is on the hill now as well against Imran Majid. That one is close at 8-6.
From a long ways away, I can see Shane breaking the balls. Can't see really the outcome of the balls, but I can certainly tell how he feels about it, or what I think. It appears he's broke dry.
Yeah, Assis is getting out of his chair, so we'll keep an eye on that one for you.
Shane kind of threw the hands up in the air a little bit, and that tells me he probably has a shot, that being Assis. It's kind of been that year for Shane, in my opinion, to where he's played really exceptional pool. Now that scratch in the last one, you know, that was on him a little bit, and he'll certainly admit that. But throughout the year, it's been funny matches and a lot of close ones he's lost to exit events.
Sort of a bit different to when he won the World Championship last year, where he had a succession of opponents who played really well against him, but managed to beat them all.
Yeah, absolutely right. Could have used a little more out of that, just maybe making it, you know, quite, I wouldn't say a real missable ball, but, you know, one you want to pay attention to. Movement there. He's going to end up a little shorter than he wants, so he's going to be behind the 9, which is always tricky. Call it kind of a blind pocket.
This to level the match. You think back to a few racks ago, he had that tough 9 ball along the side of the table. If he missed that, he was probably going 6-2 down. Now here he is, back level at 5-all. So 53 of the 64 places in single elimination have now been decided. A lot of the others could be resolved in the next few minutes, because a lot of players are getting very close to victory here. Pong Nam Pham is leading John Rabong 6-5. Told you about Shane Van Boning leading Marvin Assis 8-7. Mika Immonen as well, I informed you about, leading Imran Majid by 8 ranks to 6. Same score for Emil Leonor of the Philippines against compatriot John Lagarde. That's 8-6. Tonis Kakaris, who we were talking about there, leading Mohamed Riyat 5-2. Shane Wolford 3-2 up on Ronnie Aldervik. Ralph Souquet now leads Dennis Grabba 7-5. Patrick Gonzalez and Abdullah Al-Muntasser are on the hill as well, and Tyler Steyer leads Lu Hui Chan 7-3. So much to follow here.
Yeah, and look at this group of balls up in the left part of the table. The 1, 6, 4, and 7, along with the cue ball within just inches of each other. All separated and then came together at the last moment. So Chris has got to shore up a few easy things that got away. This shot trying to drop below the 5. Missed it. Now Billy will size up the pink 4, see if there's any kind of combination on the 1. I don't think so. SVB's at the table.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a look here. I know you're the man who can watch a pool match from 100 yards away, but I'm sitting slightly closer, so I'm trying to look over, and I'll keep you updated as much as I can on that. Leading 8-7 in a match which has been a real struggle for him. A often you see Shane Van Boening lose 2 matches in a row, but still the prospect of that. Well, Assis is now back at the table in that one.
Yeah, and watch Assis leave the table. It seemed like it wasn't on a miss, like he had played safe. So I think maybe Shane had a kick shot there, which he loved to have rather than his opponent running out. But he's left a very playable shot as well, and we'll see what Assis can do.
Well, he's just potted a ball, Assis. From what I can tell, there are 2 balls left on the table. It is partially obscured the view. Anyway, let's keep an eye on this one as well, because this is also a close contest.
Trying to draw his ball back into the 7. Oh, he hit it light. Look at this little nice play, sliding the cue ball. Trying to get up into that 2 and 3 area.
From what I can tell, Assis has got an 8 ball into the side, and then I can't tell from here where the 9 is. No, well, actually, he's shooting the other way, so there must be at least 1 ball other than that left on the table.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised Billy went for that shot. I think it was like a half a pocket. I'm not saying it was a terrible shot to shoot at, but I mean, that's a touchy one. Definitely couldn't use the rail of any sort. Assis looks pretty confident getting down on the ball and looking to tie that match, I believe.
Yeah, I think there were actually maybe a few more balls on the table than I thought. As I say, it's an obscured view from here.
Well, this shot got a little funny. Chris is going to have to float this in and take a little angle. He may end up near the head string, but I don't think the corner is really the best shot here, but, you know, it's okay. Can certainly do it. Oh, really nice strike there.
And now Marvin Assis has potted the 9. So it's gone 8-all against Shane Van Boening. And of course, as is always the case, when it's winner breaks and you're the one who's taken it hill, he will have the break in the deciding rack. Long way from going to a decider here, but the way it's heading, you wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, Chris watching the cue ball intently. Looks like now he's gotten himself in a great position. He can draw up the table by the 9. He can go between the 8 and 9 with a high ball, which is the most comfortable way. He kind of stunned it.
So in that 16th rack over on table 3, Van Boening broke dry. Assis didn't run out straight from it. He potted, I believe, 1, 2 and 3. Played a safety, forced another chance, got back in to do the rest. Either way, it's 8-all now. So Chris Melling has not been behind in this contest since it was 2-1. Ooh, but he might be behind in a moment.
And really, after playing really nice to get back to that lead, you know, with a little help from Billy. It's really been a few mistakes from Chris that has kept Billy in the match here, it seems like. Not in the match, but, you know, from not getting a real big lead.
Yeah, absolutely. A number of unexpected lapses. Well, that one wasn't quite so unexpected, but it's still a big disappointment to the man from Ohio. So it looks as though Assis has broken dry. Van Boening is at the table now in the deciding rack on table 3.
Yeah, and he's down on the ball quickly, so that tells you whatever he's doing, he kind of likes it. Looks like a safety is what was played. Now Chris has got to make a big decision on an 8-ball after making a routine mistake. The bank to me doesn't look that good.
Cease has gone back for his jump cue.
Was Chris looking at kicking at this ball a moment ago? No chance you can do that. I mean, your opponent, even though you just missed the 8, your opponent missed it behind you. And you got to leave him tough, one way or another. Even if you play the 8 right up the side rail and come over on the other side rail. I know Billy's a great banker, but you gotta figure out something that's not going to give up something easy. Even if he knocks it in but takes the lead, that's fine. But just can't be some kind of cupcake. He's going to edge it looks like. That's got to go. That's got to go.
Marvin Assis took out his jump cue, made contact with the 1, got safe. Van Boning has played a safety reply, and Assis is now back at the table in their deciding rack.
And Chris did leave some distance here, and that's part of it, but didn't quite get the 8 to where he wanted. And Billy can cue the ball nicely. Big favorite here.
Pretty much a certain favourite now. So he was 5-2 down. This is going to be 4 racks in a row for the American. And so Billy Thorpe leads Chris Melling by 6 racks to 5. So Pong Nam Pam 6-5 up on John Rabong. Told you about Van Boning and Assis and what's going on there. No update on Mika Immonen. Oh, there is an update now. Imran Majid has just won the 15th rack to get back to 8-7 in that one. Amiel Leonor has finished it off against John Lagarde. So Leonor through to the final 64 after winning that All-Philippines clash 9-7. Tonis Kakaris now 6-2 up on Mohamed Riat. Shane Wolford just ahead of Ronnie Oldervik of Norway. That one is 4-3. Ralph Souquet on the hill now against Dennis Graba at 8-5. Is Souquet at 54 years of age going to make single elimination of another big event? Patrick Gonzalez of the Philippines also looking for one more against Matt Edwards. That one's 8-7. And Tyler Steyer needs 2 more against Lu Hee Chan. Steyer leading 7-3. Thorpe 6-5 up here.
And he's going to break and get a shot. I thought he was. Looked like the cue ball was going to get above that red 3. He's made 2 on the break, more of what he's looking for on that end. But now another safety coming. It's been that kind of match after some runouts their first 4 or 5 games. Shane, knowing Shane, he kind of looks like he likes where he's at the table.
Was the 6 going to drop? I'm not sure it's going to get him very far though.
Yeah, he's amazed. He was playing safe the entire way. And it looks like maybe the pink 4's cutting off the kick a little bit. May have to bend this. Big crowd up around SVB's table, as there should be.
Yeah, on all sides and up in the upper tier of seating as well.
And he's, of course, they're pulling, you know, around here for any Asian players, and as they should. But Shane has a lot of fans as well. So, and anything hill for your tournament life is just appetizing to the fans, especially with some big names involved. Now, as Chris take on this ball, he's got a little cover, kind of dragging it in a little bit. He can hold behind the pink just in case he misses. Only problem is if you miss it, you could leave it near the side and an easy kick shot or jump and return. Hit that ball pretty well. It looks like the red 3's like halfway in the pocket.
As you can see there, all the crowd and attention has really been taken away from this match in the arena. Everyone watching the events on table 3. Shane Van Boning facing the prospect of getting beaten for the second time today and going out of this Hanoi Open.
And it's amazing how he handles the pressure, because I mean that's a scalp everyone wants, and you know, knows the players are getting so much better, play so many close matches. I was going to say, watch out for that scratch. Looks like SVB's left the table off of a safety.
Yeah, seems to be a pretty long safety contest. I don't think anything's been potted yet in that deciding rack, but hard to be sure from where we're looking.
This is an awkward one. Very hard to go back and forth with a lot of accuracy, and you got to involve a couple side pockets. But also, you don't want to roll this. You may kind of drag this ball in depending on how you like to hit it. Yep, he's going to fluke it. He's going to fluke it. Talked about that the other day. Missed the pause at that cue ball, that little settling of the tip, and he's a great banker, but that wasn't by design. But I bet it's so hard for Billy not to bank at this ball, even though position is not easy. Is he playing a cue ball behind the 7 here, trying to control the 5 under to the 9? Yeah, he missed it and let the 5 loose a little bit. So I know you can't do it in the middle, but boy, it'd be a good time for a timeout for Melling to regroup. He's had a few chances. Can't do a whole lot with the cue ball here. He's got plenty of angle. I think if he makes it, he avoids the side pocket with the cue ball on the right. Tough shot.
Watch this. It just stays up. We've lost the score graphic there, as you've no doubt noticed. So Billy Thorpe of the United States from 5-2 down is currently leading that man, Chris Melling from England. 6 racks to 5. Race to 9 in losers qualification round on day 3 of the Hanoi Open.
Yeah, another hill match over there that there's not, seems like never a break and run. That'd be an SVB, and he's kicking behind this one. Oh, it's got to go. It's got to go. He's not going to get the 5 all the way up table. That's going to hurt a bit. Chris, though, what do you do here? You unleash the draw stroke here. It's going to feel a lot better.
Well, there must be a few balls down, because Van Boning appears to have just potted the 4 ball. Looks to be on the 5 in that deciding rack. Chris Melling was 5-2 up, very nearly 6-2 up. Once Thorpe had won that 8th rack, it was the start of a run of 4 in a row, which took him into the lead at 6-5. But now Melling has levelled again. It's a race to 3 from here.
Yeah, I'd probably take my time out, I think, if I'm Melling here. Let's regroup for this race to 4 for my tournament light.
Pong Nam Pam leads John Ribong 7-5. Mika Immonen still looking for one more against Imran Majid. That's 8-7.
No, Oh, he got applause for a tough one, I think, in the side pocket on the green 6.
Antonius Kakaris needs 2 more, leads Mohamed Riyad 7-2. Shane Wolford now 6-3 up on Ronnie Oldervik. Ralph Souquet is through. He's ended the run of Dennis Graba, the Estonian, defeated there by 9 racks to 5. Patrick Gonzalez of the Philippines in the last few moments has seen off Matt Edwards and sent him on the long journey home, 9-7. Abdullah Al-Muntasser has beaten Britain's Damien Massey, 9-5, and Tyler Steyer's on the hill at 8-4 against Liu Hui Chan. Back here, Chris Melling has had a nice result from the break as he looks to go back in front.
Yeah, really a picture-perfect break. Cue ball in a straight line going back and forth, and Shane got in position to win, and the fans appreciate it.
And that's that. The winning 9 ball has got down, so Shane Van Boning, in his second hill-hill finish against a Philippines player today, has got it done this time. Lost to Kyle Amoroto earlier, but he's won now against Marvin Assis, and he will be #1 on the list of players that the guys who've come through on the winner's side will want to avoid when the draw is made very shortly now.
Chris, I think, a little laboring there in the mid-match. Got that last rack down and couldn't ask for a better break-off, especially not only at 6-6, but you know, getting late in the day. And pull this up the rail, come across, a little preference here. Looks like he's going to level out, use the 2 cushions.
So very good rack from Melling. A couple of balls down off the break. And from there, he's gone on to win it. And he is now back into the lead at 7-6, and the winning line just starting to appear on the horizon. So we did know that Marvin Assis broke dry in that deciding rack against Shane Van Boning, who then potted 3 balls. They made a number of attempts to hook Assis, the last of which yielded the chance from which Van Boning cleared up to win the match and go through to the final 64. Fascinating to see who he will draw there. Pong Nam Pham of Vietnam leads John Rabong from the Philippines 7-5. It's now gone hill-hill between Mika Immonen and Imran Majid. Majid staging a late rally there. A clash of the over 50s. Antonius Kakaris going well at 7-2 against Mohamed Riyad. Shane Wolford leads 7-3 over Ronnie Oldervik. And Tyler Steyer still looking for 1 more, leading Liu Hui Chan by 8 racks to 4. Melling needs a couple more.
Yeah, and from nowhere he's starting to figure out the break. He's hit it well again. Big stretch for Chris, and a thin one on the blue too, and the 9 kind of hampering movement of the cue ball a bit. I wonder if he takes this on. He could knock this away and just hold the cue ball right there and have a big eclipse with the 9. Let's feel he's going to come off the 9 to the left a little bit.
So just 6 places now left to be decided in the final 64. We'll know our full lineup soon, and that of course means we'll know the draw soon after that.
Yeah, and I don't know if he can get on the pink 4 here. I mean, difficult shot on the 3, and that's why I would have looked before I took on the 2, even if he came a little left. With the purple 5 there, it was always going to be, you know, a difficult situation to get position from the 3 to the 4. I don't know what he's looking at as far as position. Is he going to try and bounce past the 5? Off the 3? I don't know about this. I mean, you gotta hit this with some speed. You certainly can't draw it. You may lose the cue ball here. Yeah, Tyler Steyer's got a lot of work left. He only needs 1 game, but he's facing a very, very difficult player. Chen. Of course, anyone from Chinese Taipei, it's almost like the Philippines. You just kind of know they can play really, really well.
I think perhaps in a lot of cases, players from those countries, if they're here, maybe they've got government backing or funding, So perhaps that's why they always seem to be good players and not just guys who are maybe taking a chance at stepping up a level. Perhaps that could explain it.
Yeah, and it may be their train of thought, meaning some places they're going to be like, well, I'm not a good enough player to go yet. And, they just look at things a little differently than some others, and not saying one's right or wrong, it's just different.
Might be players from other countries where there's not as much quality around who are very good at winning matches there and decide to take their chance in the big open events.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, I don't think that shot was really laying there. You notice he caught it thick, and I think that was really promoted, trying to get cue ball into position, and I don't think the shot itself was really playable to the pocket and make the cue ball do the same things. Of course, that's just an opinion, and Chris's opinion means the most. He's at the table trying to win this match, and you never know, maybe the tournament. Then went into the side. Cue ball should be okay going by the purple. He caught the ball to the hole a little thick. Now he's knocked the purple into a very so-so position. So maybe, I don't know if he can feel good about a soft kick on the pink here off that left long rail. Because I think if he bumps it on what would be his right side or left side of the pink as a viewer, I don't think it will play by the 8. Yeah, I'm surprised he played that with speed. Not saying it was totally incorrect, but with the 5, like I said, in a bad position, I may have played a soft kick there.
Chris Melling has been in the single elimination stage of a couple of these big Matchroom events already this year. Didn't get any further at the World Championship, was eliminated in the last 64. The UK Open, though, he got to the last 16, and it was only around this time last year that he was in the quarterfinals of the US Open, and when he was playing, he certainly seemed to feel he could win it, and it was hard to disagree with that. But then Max Lechner saw him off 10-4 in the last 8.
Chris, got to concentrate here. He likes to fire these a lot of times. Yeah, you got to be accurate, especially if you're adding more speed. And that's not so much the object ball to the hole to me. It's just, people always say hit the ball lighter, but what happens when you hit the ball with more speed, you miss hit the cue ball. It's not so much the object ball going, oh, if you hit it pure, it's going to go. But, when you like to rifle them in, you tend to miss hit the cue ball a little more often. Shane Wolford up 7-4. Tyler Starr at 8-5 now. Looks like he is at the table. Maybe not. Solid stroke there. That's going to get Chris to the hill, so Billy's going to need them all from here.
Yeah, it's turning into a strong finish for Melling. Fell behind at 6-5, but 3 in a row since then, and now he leads 8-6. Yeah, you were saying Tyler Steyer's got work to do. Well, he still does, because Liu Hee Chan, as you say, has pulled it back to 8-5. Shane Wolford 7-4 up on the Norwegian player Ronnie Aldervik. Antonius Kakaris also at 7 against Mohamed Riyat, who's on 3. And, well, Imran Majid has completed the turnaround and ended the hopes of Mika Immonen. Strong finish there from Majid, coming back from the brink to beat Mika Immonen by 9 racks to 8. So he's through to the final 64. It's been a solid year for Imran Majid.
Yeah, and there's been a constant theme with him. I think he just needs to work on when he gets to the shot clock, maybe. When he plays those rounds without the shot clock, he seems just about as solid as so many in the tournament. And there's a youngster over there that looks a little younger in the blue shirt. You see him? 2 tables over, he's down on the ball. Wait till he stands up now. He looks 9 or 10 years old.
He looks very young.
Yeah.
Just one other score to give you. John Rabong of the Philippines and Pong Nam Pam from the host nation. They're level at 7-all. So 5 players left, final 64.
Look at this one. Obviously wasn't hit how he wanted, but what a big cluster near the. Look at that face.
Don't need to commentate on that. The face tells the story.
Yeah, and he's dead elevated here over the 8. I think he can move the ball a little bit, but it's going to be a lot of little tight positions here in this rack for Billy Thorpe, and a must it is.
Yeah, this is like doing surgery now.
Well, good thing he's got a little angle here so he can come off the rail, and getting to the 2 shouldn't be a problem. The 3 to the 4 a little tricky, and then from the 5 to the 6. Good thing about these, though, when you do get these occasionally and you're in Billy's position, as long as you maintain mentally, you can always play a lot of very effective safeties when you have those clusters like they are.
You know, you've got 3 players all in action out there at the moment trying to get places on your Moscone team. You've got Billy Thorpe here, you've got Shane Wolford, you've got Tyler Steyer. I know there's no hard and fast deadline, but what was it you were saying to me earlier in the week, that you've been asked to get your captain's picks in within about 7 days of this finishing? Is that right?
No, I was just saying that's normally what they do.
Okay.
They've been discussing it the last couple of days a little bit now that Ralph Eckert's here, and you know, make sure. And that's what I mean about the safeties. When you get a little out of line with the clusters, you can play very effective safeties. And maybe the guy that has, I wouldn't say the best, greatest escapes, I would have to give that to Efren Reyes in 9-ball pool, but a guy that has a lot of them. And this one sits real nice, and the reason why, if he comes 2 rails and hits the bottom of this, the 3, the cue ball should spin off the side rail and back into the pack. If he comes across it, the cue ball should go up table. So this one's all about medium speed, and he should get this one done. There's definitely a path there, 2 rails between the green 6 and pink 4. I think it'll end up being something like, maybe like the Ryder Cup, maybe 1 a week for the next 2 weeks. We'll see.
Okay.
Discussed a few different things. We'll see what happens. You know, me and Ralph known each other for a long time, and we've always got along, and had to play each other several times back in the day. He used to come to Texas for 3 to 6 months, it seems like, every year, for many years, and so we'll figure it out and make sure it's okay. Like I said, medium speed, not too hard. Yeah, see how if he hits it, how the cue ball is going to come back towards the pile.
Are you at a place now, I think we know in all probability who the 3 automatic selections are going to be. How close are you to knowing your other 2, or are you still a long way from that, particularly with all these guys still in the tournament? Is there room for them to influence you with their results in the next few days?
Yeah, for sure. A little bit. You know, I mean, I think they're all trending better and better. The one thing about a lot of players, if you think about 4 or 5, they all bring a little bit different qualities, which is amazing. You know, they can all run out, they can all play great, but when you think about a team thing, you know, you got different types of asterisks by each player, in my opinion. Billy's got that fight. You know, BJ Usry's a grinder, a real try-hard guy all the time, and don't know as much about BJ, but I'm learning more and more all the time. Oscar's starting to show some of his best form. Tyler's had a great year, even though here on the World 9-Ball Tour, you feel like it should be a little better with the ranking. Who am I missing? Shane Wolford, of course, who's had some great results this year as well. So I love my job, but it's not easy. And I wouldn't change anything for the world, really.
So it's been a match of big swings and momentum. Thorpe won the first 2. Melling won the next 5. Thorpe then won the next 4. Melling is here looking to complete a closing stretch of 4 in a row, which would take him through. And I think if it does finish 9-6, it's going to be one of those slightly misleading score lines in terms of how close a contest it's been.
Yeah, 9-6 really isn't that far from one of our closest, you know, Hill or 9-7. I mean, it's just little things. I'll tell you one thing we overlook. Melling made one of the best shots of the day of that 3 in the side over the ball with some speed from a very, very small angle. I tell you, I don't know if he I try to simplify it as much as I can. I know he can't get that close to the 6 unless he really does something special, but starting to knock the ball in, it looks like a little more comfortably towards the end of the match. I wouldn't do anything crazy here. He's coming down below it. He's got to have good speed. Now, the other thing about coming below, if you don't like it, the safety's probably going to be all right.
Shane Wolford is on the hill now at 8-4 against Ronnie Aldervik. So much to keep an eye on in these final moments. And these look like being the final moments of this match. Still little to do, but sort of chance Chris Melling will be pleased to have. And really, he should see it out from here. So disappointment for Billy Thorpe. It's been an eventful few weeks for him. He played in the US Open without injury. Gave a decent account of himself. So disappointed earlier today against Anton Raga. From 8-1 up. Incredibly, he lost 9-8. Seemed to put it behind him and made a positive enough start to this match, but he's made some mistakes along the way. A lot of early racks here that could have gone either way. And in the end, from 6-5 down, Chris Melling has turned it round to win by 9 racks to 6, and he is through to the final 64. Billy Thorpe's campaign at the Hanoi Open is over.